The Community Preservation Committee to order, 6 o'clock. Today's agenda is primarily to review the applicant's requests. Each applicant will have approximately 15 minutes to give their presentation with some questions from the committee. But we'll start with administrative business, quorum and attendance, full house. The acceptance of minutes, we have no minutes, apparently. That's true, right?
Correct.
Even up to this point?
Yeah.
Okay. And, praise the Lord, we have no bills to pay. I'm sure. So, with those three items being done, we can move right into our CPC applicant reviews. Everybody has the agenda of the direction we're going. Everybody has their paperwork. I'm stalling, I'm waiting for my buddy to get ready. We'll ask the Fairhaven Historical Committee, Commission, to step forward. They have an application for the Academy building for a doorway restoration project to the tune of $118,000. Let me say that again. $118,800. I'm gonna take some cold medicine.
What's the 800 for?
We'll give you the floor.
My name is David Daybrake, Chairman of the Fairhaven Historical Commission. And the project that we're requesting funds for is to correct some issues at the Academy building. Three issues as I see it. The front entranceway is badly deteriorated. The door, the surround is pretty far gone. Looks nice right now, it's been puttied and painted, but it's in pretty bad shape. Issue two is that there's only one form of egress on the first floor, the ground floor of the building. So if in the event of some kind of issue, there's only one way in and out of that building on the first floor, the ground floor. And the third issue is, as everyone knows, is that the building is not ADA compliant, not accessible. So this project would correct all three of those issues. It would reconstruct the front entryway. We would create a ADA compliant landing and stairs at the front, a second form of egress in the either northwest corner of the building directly into the tourism office with a handicap ramp that would bring visitors right through to the parking lot on the east side of the building. I have a plan that was drawn up by the architect I was given tonight, which shows exactly where the walkway and access would be on the building.
If you state your name for the minutes.
John Montano, Clearwater Architects.
Okay, we can share.
I could have one.
Are you going to share with Jeff?
Well, I think that's the way you described it in here somewhere, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, got plenty?
I also have some photographs just for reference in stereo with the building. And then also.
It's Main Street, wait a minute. It works better, okay. Yeah, okay, I got it.
I need
got
one
it.
copy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
buy it
I-
every time I've gone up the street, I have to
Get some of these out. Yeah, we'll give you one of those. Yeah,
Question is still whether you can
apparently we have enough of
change the
these.
exterior.
Any questions
of
on
a
the,
building that's on the National Register.
Ann?
got the
So
window.
the shrub, the arborvitaes that are there, they would have, would they stay, or would they come down? It's hard to see, in this is like a row of arborvitae
Right
trees
here.
that go all the way to the.
The first page.
We have some extra.
Is This is a
Jay?
blown-up version.
Oh, okay.
And you can see, this first page, there's just a photograph from Google Earth.
Yep.
Superimposed just for reference.
Right.
And it's a little bit more
Yeah, this is that sheet, but this is the window they're gonna take out.
required is that this section of arborvitae's be removed.
Here's the back tower right there.
Yeah,
Parking spot.
but this, they're gonna take out this entire window and make a door out of it.
And there'd only be one.
There's some problem in there with the,
I'm not quite sure, what, I haven't done a code analysis or
Okay.
for zoning, how much parking would be required, that would be a discussion with the building department.
Are you asking how many handicap parking?
Well, right
Or-
now there's two, so I would assume they just moved two.
Is that end one a handicap, or is
No,
that?
it's two
that- yeah.
right at the walkway.
Yeah, right at the
Right.
walkways, yeah,
There's
the one,
two.
because I went by there, and the one on the end I thought was just a visitor's parking
These are
parking
all
spot.
visitors.
it's both,
Right,
you know,
so
yeah.
basically, you're losing a visitor parking place, and you're bringing the walkway,
I think one would be.
right, and you
know,
take,
I measured it, there's not real accurate existing conditions measurements, it's never really been
Okay.
surveyed.
so there would be no attempt to have it return on the property to the walkway in the front, then, by the stairway, by the fire escape.
exit, right.
Just,
In other words, if you had your, if, right, I didn't know whether there was an attempt to come this way on the grass of the property. Because,
the goal was to really, keep this front elevation as intact as possible. We had talked about putting a ramp going to the front door
Right.
at one
Did you get-
point.
did you-
But really, this is,
No.
kind of killing
He
two birds with one stone,
You can look at
No,
it.
because it is not code compliant.
oh, it's
now
all, we've got it,
because it's a
we've got it,
single
right
egress.
here.
So this would reintroduce an egress in the back here, I think there used to be one on the side.
yeah, there was, that was,
And then come down like this.
that was before they put the stairs down cellar.
You-
But it says, that my question was, for them to get access to that, they have to roll through the parking lot, not through the walkway and then across.
Well, this reestablishes.
That's my only concern.
The van parking at the end. So the existing parking really doesn't satisfy van parking.
Correct.
This has to be X amount of dimension, and that does not have that dimension. So establish this as the handicap van parking, and then any one of these, or on the other side, would be the additional, handicap parking.
What's the elevation on that side? I'm sorry, I'm commission member too. So I would
State your
like-
name, please.
Excuse me, Deborah Charpentier, Historical Commission. The elevation on that side, that Main Street side, we had discussed that, but there would be a major amount of reconstruction to the elevation that we would have to do in order to swing that around the building.
Oh, by going by Main Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was saying, coming through the arborvitae's the way you enter now. Take a right, go by the
Fire escape.
fire escape, and then take the left
I don't
to the
think it's
back.
wide
I mean, it's quite,
No,
it's quite
it's-
large.
Yeah,
You
it
could do
probably
that.
looks wider on that picture than it
That was
actually
just,
is.
Yep, I'm not advocating for it, I'm just asking
This
questions
could
about
be
it.
done with walkway.
Mhm.
As is, there's no real walkway over to here. And we also talked about putting a walkway around here and possibly even coming up the stairs right here. This is a very schematic level design.
Mhm.
We'd have to get into it more. But we could also wrap a walkway. I think it would be an important goal to maintain this arborvitae edge line
Mhm.
here. And then kind of
So go behind it?
They grow fast.
Yeah, between the arborvitae and the building.
Just like a concrete sidewalk, correct?
Or, well, the rest is brick, so.
Well, it's actually stamped.
Stamped, right.
It's stamped stamped bituminous, I think.
They need to be trimmed back about.
That's stamped bituminous, thing.
Yes, it
You
is.
know, I didn't take any pictures of the fire escape.
Yeah,
I took some pictures there.
Over here.
Right, but I'm trying to get the distance between the
have no
arborvitae's and that.
It's,
They just-
probably 10 feet between the fire escape end and the arborvitae's, because I put a 10 by 10 tent there for the farmer's market. Right now, there's currently a bike rack
I don't have that
cemented into the ground right there. That's where the bike rack is, right
it's
in
on
the
the-
front there.
on the back.
So that would have to be, if they did that. It's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't,
Can I ask a question
Sure.
as to why the,
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, Roger, Frank had his hand up earlier.
There's a cellar bulkhead right there where that, you got your walkway going by.
It doesn't extend past the tower.
It's over here, yeah, that,
That ramp would be beyond the tower, north of the tower. That bulkhead doesn't extend past the tower. You wouldn't be anywhere near
yeah,
the
this is
bulkhead.
like 6 feet and the bulkhead's only like 4 feet.
No, I realize that. So you're saying, okay, wait a minute, I'm looking at this. Okay, the bulkhead, it doesn't interfere at all with the, okay.
Correct.
I know that it comes out of ways. I was involved with putting it in, so that's why.
That's it, right? The little shallow thing.
The other thing was that we put a stamped concrete walkway in there. Is that being changed?
Not to my knowledge, that.
Well, I read
No.
somewhere where there's gonna be a concrete walkway. Oh, it sounded like a new one.
No, along the back of the building, Frank.
Oh, rock.
Well, this is a ramp. This was,
Yeah.
the proposal is, so you come out, this is.
Yeah,
the
I
exhibition
understand that.
space.
This is
I know,
this is the
I-
walkway they're talking, the new
Oh,
one.
so you're not touching the present walkway in front, on the
This
south
would have to
side?
be reestablished. This is
Yeah, I know what that is.
in order to, so this walkway immediately adjacent to the landing would be affected, would be modified somehow. Because this whole this
Yeah.
whole top landing isn't wide enough.
Yeah, I understand that, but you're not gonna alter the present existing walkway right now?
Very
walkway.
minimally.
Well, yeah,
minimally.
where it interfaces
No.
with, okay, right at the junction of the, I
The,
understand that.
the idea is to keep the stuff as,
Okay,
don't touch as much as possible.
I have another question, Jeff.
that's my question.
Roger had a question, I believe.
my question was, why are you going around the tower to that side, to the west side of it, instead of going into it at the east side of the tower?
I'll give a quick answer to that, because on the east side is the schoolroom, which has these built-up school benches and things, and without taking the whole thing out, which is.
So it's because of the inside.
That's the essence,
So
part of
the
the essence
interior-
of the.
The interior of the tower has benches?
No, this room here,
Yes.
this east room has got 2 sets of benches that go up.
Sort of like stadium.
And that is the essence of the academy building. I believe that would have been on the other side at one time, and they've since taken those out. I'm not sure, I wasn't around back then.
Additionally, there's a.
So they
window.
couldn't come in there without destroying that whole schoolroom atmosphere. So that's not a
Oh, so you
viable.
can't come into the east side of the tower?
Correct. You can't go into
Without-
that east room.
All right.
You have to go into the west room. There is a window, like you said.
Coming into the tower
You can extend the window.
Just talking about coming into the tower itself,
The tower itself
Talking about-
Tower is a
has a
stairwell.
stairwell going down to
Oh,
the
so
cellar.
there's no
So
access.
no access there either.
Okay.
I mean, this is the location you have to go in if you choose to go in.
Okay.
Also, we need X amount of horizontal dimension to accommodate the grade change as is. This is it's beyond, we have to put a landing in, so you can only go 30 feet and a ramp, and this will
Oh,
be a
okay.
little bit more. So we got ramp section, and then usually ramp section.
Did you get an elevation from the sill to the
There's not real accurate, no.
2.5, 3
It has to
feet?
be
It's about
done.
3 feet, I think, relative.
I figured on
2.5, 3 feet would be my guess. Any other
I have a
pertinent
question.
questions? Yep.
If you had a priority to do either the front entrance, if we had to split the project, is there a priority to do the front first and then do the back, or do you have to have them done together? Or is there like one that's more important than the other?
Well, the commission voted to put the project through its entirety.
Okay.
I think to do one does a disservice to the rest. I think it's equally important. If you just do the front, you're not making the building ADA compliant. If you just do the back, you're not addressing the deteriorating front entrance, which is a pretty,
But the front entrance historically is getting ruined with all this water damage, and you gave the picture, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons why.
that's being reconstructed, right.
Right, so, just as an example, this could be redone if, and I know it would be ADA compliant, and then if we had to split the project, I'm thinking money-wise, is there a priority, or you want it all or nothing?
I would say that we're putting through the project in its entirety.
Okay,
I have a
You should,
que-
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I hadn't thought about it before, but do we have any design for what the back door would look like that's going to replace that window? We're changing the facade of a building that's on the National Register, and that's,
John can speak to this, but it would be in sympathy to the federal style. of
and
building.
that's, I hadn't even thought about it before.
Yeah, they said that in their narrative, that
Yeah.
it would be in keeping.
It'd just be an
Well, it'd have to be.
ordinary door. In other words, I think that's
Well,
important,
you know,
what it
it's
looks
a back
like.
door, and so it's not as detailed as the front door, but it still has to be,
Be matched.
historically correct. But it's, so it's a different vocabulary, but it's, the style is parallel. So, we have some ideas, it's just gonna take a little bit more design development to do that.
I know, fall behind.
No,
Any other
I
quick
have
questions?
I have
You
a
got quick
question. On, John, on item 17, it talks about excavate and prepare, install historically compatible accessible cast in place concrete ramp and railings. And it says the ramp would be 3 feet wide. Well, that's a misprint. Is it 4 feet or a minimum?
Scrivener's error.
I'm just making sure that, well, 42 inches is minimum, and I'm assuming you'll make it.
4 feet clear,
So it's a 4 foot.
yes.
Okay, that's what I was hoping.
Be 4 foot wide, is that what?
It's drawn correctly in the drawing.
Yes, it looked correct in the drawing, but it didn't on the thing. And the only other question I have is, instead of concrete, I'm just putting out, I just want to impress that we have almost $1.2 million worth of projects. And we have less than $500,000. So the committee is looking at, as Ms. Richards said, well, is there, is something better than nothing? So you may want to take that back to the commission, and because they'll be deliberating in January. So you may, I know you have a commission meeting tonight, you may want to take it back that there are, something's better than nothing, in some of these projects is the way I think the committee's feeling, or all or nothing. And it's your right as the commission. I'm just pointing out to you that,
Wood always is an option. And it's-
well, I know wood is an option, and also if one was done, fund the design for everything, and then do one or the other projects. That's what I think you should consider that versus your all or nothing position.
The half a loaf.
Yeah.
Okay.
My only concern would be to go to town meeting and not be able to say.
This would,
the building's gonna
and
be-
you know what? It would be phase 1, and it would be identified, we would change the title to whatever, phase, doorway, ADA compliant, phase 1. Phase 1 is this, and then the phase 2 that we're going to apply for next year is this. So it is something that you should consider.
Yeah.
So.
I raise a question there.
May I?
Yes, Simone,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
If indeed, we were to divide this into 2 phases, would the project contingency, schematic design, stage fee still cost $18,000? And would the engineering architect fee still cost $10,800? Would we have to repeat these 2 fees?
I couldn't answer, Mr. Montana.
Engineering fee is largely associated with the ramp. It's less of an issue, it's a non-issue really with the doorway. There's costs associated with construction, and it varies because the whole project has to be, the construction documents and the project manual has to be basically replicated. There's an efficiency because it's done for the most part, but it's a different scope of work. And so it's not a double, but there is an inefficiency when you split a project. I mean, we've been experiencing.
Well, would you rather split a project or not have a project? I think that's what we're trying to say. And I'm looking at $29,000 worth of fees for a south doorway as well as a north doorway with the ramp. So what I'm looking at is budget and the amount of money we have to spend. And if indeed you were to agree to do this in 2 phases, exactly what would our contingency fees be? Would they still stay at $29,000 for both
We have
years?
not been
or not?
requested to break it apart with the costing, and we certainly could do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Sandy, one more
Well,
question?
It occurred to me that if we do the front first, or just the front, that closes the building because there's only one entrance. It closes the building for whatever time it's under construction. And I believe the idea was if they did the ramp and the back entrance, the new back entrance first, that would leave the building open.
But I think they would work around that.
They would have to work around it, but it's just
Have to, I mean, you
another
have a-
consideration that
Yeah,
comes
they'd
in
have to
there.
put a temporary door in anyway.
Yeah, they have to put
Someplace,
something there,
you know,
yeah.
that's-
I think that you would want to shut the building down for at least a part of the construction
Yep.
phase, just when egress would be inhibited by doorways, people with ladders in the doorway and things like that.
Since that's a town office,
Well, we'll see how that would work out. Shall we move on? I think we've heard.
Thank you very much.
You have any changes, get them to Bill as soon as possible.
All right, thanks very much.
Yeah. If you wanna talk about the phasing thing, just for numbers to look at.
Okay, the Recreation Center Wellness Committee, a fitness station. Project for $10,000.
Good evening.
You state your name?
I'm on the wellness committee. For the record,
Okay.
I'm on the wellness committee. Yes, sir.
State your name and
My name is Warren
present your
Renshausen.
project.
I'm the Recreation Director here in Fairhaven, and I am the Treasurer on the Wellness Committee. What we've presented is a project to try and expand. Initially, the Wellness Committee was set up for town employees, and we've been trying to expand to the community-wide as well with some initiatives. And this project is an outdoor fitness station that would be situated behind the Recreation Center and the COA. In fact, more behind the COA towards that corner where the bike path entrance comes in, not the playground side, but the other side. I've included some pictures of the area from all angles of where we're looking to put it. We've gotten 3 quotes to date. They range from $17,000 to $31,000, depending on the equipment and the companies. We have $10,000 secured right now from $5,000 from a grant with Mass Health, as well as $5,000 from the COA. They had some money that had been gotten from Days over the years for equipment, and they felt this was a good project to go towards that. The equipment basically is some balance. We want to include balance for the senior population who is at the COA. So some of the equipment would be balance orientated as well as some fitness stuff. We felt that eventually we'd like to go on both sides, both directions on the bike path with some single stations along the way. But since that was an area sort of larger, that we put a multi-station, which is 4 units on that particular site, minimum 4 units on that site there. It would be poured rubber in place, opposed to wood carpet fiber like you see on the playgrounds. At least for that location. On the bike path itself, we could get away with that, but considering we're inviting the seniors to come out, we felt that for logistics and liability, the best bet would be to have a smooth surface constantly. So that would be a poured rubber surface. So the $10,000 we're asking is pretty much just a 50% match of the project. Hopefully it comes in a little bit lower when we actually do go out and get the equipment, but we also know that the pricing I got right now today could change between now and when the project actually gets done in, July or whatever, if this was approved, so. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just so I'm clear, you're just putting up one fitness center at this point?
It's just a fitness station. There's four pieces to it. There's that little circular thing is a wobble board, and there's
okay.
2 handrails in front of it. It's a balance pod, basically.
All right.
That's sort of an elliptical on the right. and then there's another
So
piece on
there's
the back.
there's three on that
Correct.
one piece and one over there. Okay, all right, that's where I was getting a little confused.
Yeah, no, it's 4 different components. And we have contacted the BPW already, and they are willing to do the excavation to save us some expense. The company that provides the equipment would do the installation.
Anybody have any questions from the
I do.
board? Ann?
Do you know for sure that the Mass Health grant is able to be used for this?
Yes, we've already got that approved.
And if it does come in at a less, you know, the total is less, does it come out of our amount, or? I
That's a
don't know
good
how-
question, I'm not sure how that would work
How that
either.
works? Did you hear that? So if they get a bid, they're asking for 10,000. If they get a bid, they're matching 10,000. If their bid is 16,000, do they get less money they match, or do we, how does that usually work?
However you wanna word it.
Okay, so it's
I would-
on the ask.
Yeah, I would say on our end, because the grant has to be used by a certain time, that we would probably
Okay.
max out their end first.
Yours, the
Right,
wellness.
The wellness committees
Okay.
first.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
And then maybe if it's there, we can come back and ask if we have permission to maybe put a singular station, start that on the bike path if it's affordable. But, you know, until the numbers come in, that would be,
Okay, thank you. I'm all set. think
Well,
it's
I don't
fine.
know that we could change the scope of it after. Because
Okay,
we have
so
to
if
bring,
it's
we have to
turned
bring
back,
it to
it's
town
turned back.
meeting, and they're gonna see
Yep.
a certain project, and
Well,
I don't know if we, I know we
If
have
you,
done
if you
some.
want, if you want the latitude, if pricing comes in to add a wellness station, up to the maximum, you know, grant award, you can do that.
So you could add another
we'd have to
piece
add
maybe?
a-
it wouldn't probably there, we'd probably start going,
Oh,
I mean,
gotcha.
we could add a piece, but then we're just talking about more square area, because it's just like a playground, you have to have a certain space around each piece of equipment as a safety fall zone, they call it. So, and adding more equipment would add the square footage of the, but, you know, along the bike path, we can get away without the poured rubber, like I said.
Right.
Because, it
And,
would be easier.
and you've discussed it at this meeting. If Warren sent me an email that I could attach to this application to say per the meeting, you know, supplementing the supplementing that was discussed at the meeting. This is if the CPC is acceptable to it. You know, if bids are favorable, we would, like to use any excess funds to add a single or, you know, to add stations along the bike path as,
Well, I'd like to see an example of the station and some kind of figure for it.
and I'm
Sure, and I could get that for you easily, it's just,
For our January meeting.
right, this is our first part. We'd like to eventually expand both ways, so.
Right.
So, if you wanted to supplement it, this is a style of what we'd like to supplement it, if there's funds available.
We're always-
And I can distribute that to the thing.
We're always happy to see someone come with a project that has matching funds.
Yes.
It's rare, but it's appreciated.
So this is, in my estimation, up to a $20,000 project, 10 from CPC, 10 from them. Okay.
You could make it that, but you know, like I say. I'd wanna
Is
see
the
what else.
location fixed for it?
For the first part, yes, it's gonna be behind the COA.
I mean, is it one particular spot, because there's a lot of land back there?
Yeah, no, we wanna
They
put
have
it,
They have a drawing,
Yeah.
there's a drawing, and I also put, those photos show the area. I took angles from the bike path, from the front of the building, from the side of the building. So it's basically in the tree area. I think last year or the year before, I'm not sure, Bill, you had a pickleball request come in.
Yeah.
That's the location that would be going in. So it's in the shaded area of the trees. And we just felt, you know, it's a good project, so we wanted to make sure we made use of that area.
Between the trees, but not removing them.
Right, we're not gonna remove any trees.
Trying to attract the people at the Council on Aging people?
Well, they have.
Versus the walkers?
Well, we want to include both. Because it's on location, we wanted to make sure we had some balance and lower activity equipment so that they would be able to take advantage of it during the day while they're there. But obviously, we're along the bike path, so anybody stopping from a walk or a bike ride could go and participate and get some different exercise in that they're not doing on the bike path.
I just was wondering, restrictions for certain people?
No, there wouldn't be any restrictions at all.
That's good.
Any other questions? All right, with that,
Thank
we
you for your
thank you very
time.
much, Warren. Good luck.
Thanks.
I imagine, Bill, you're the presenter on the Board of Selectmen stuff?
Yes, Mr. Reese was unavailable to come, so I am filling in his stead. He'll actually be here tomorrow night for a project. So the first project that the Board of Selectmen are looking at forwarding on is what we're calling Town Hall Restoration Study. And
You wanna sit up front and say your name? No?
Hi, stop talking.
Wanna sit up front so the camera,
I just need to get the right narrative. I put the wrong one in my
so the
folder.
camera gets the right angle?
Okay,
Go ahead, have it.
so I'm front and center. Thank you. My name is Bill Roth. I am the Planning and Economic Development Director for the town of Fairhaven, and I'm presenting this on behalf of the Town Administrator, Mark Reese.
And it's a $12,000 request?
Yes, sir. It's a $12,000 request, and we're calling this, it's a Town Hall Restoration Study. The purpose of the project is to look at evaluating the remaining items at Town Hall. As you know, Town Hall has gone through, thanks to the CPC, other grant funding and town funding, a lot of restoration has happened. As everything continually ages, there's always issues. Things that were not a priority, and this was back in the 90s when Mr. Osuch and Joe Booth, architects, were looking at the building. A lot of it was repointing gutters, copper gutters. At the time, they patched and did not do full roof work. The tile floor in the front was not deteriorated, it's becoming more deteriorated. So some of the items are the entry floor tile, the slate roof, continued brick restoration. There are some replica lighting that has been removed, lighting that's been removed that would look at possibly being added back in. Essentially, what we did back in the 90s is had a very similar study that looked at the building in its entirety and prioritized. Well, that's been 20 years ago, and now we want to look at, what are the next things that we look at needing to do. When I met with Mr. Reese and our architect, he, off the top of his head, he talked about the roof and some other items. And so one of the things that we want to look at is, look at the entire building and come up with a strategy and a listing of the things that are needing to be done. As with this building and all of the Rogers building, water is the biggest enemy. So we've done a good job on making it watertight, but the roof was not replaced. So there are concerns. Part of this will actually evaluate the roof, evaluate a lot of the other things. And in addition, we will be looking at the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems in the building. We have numerous, we know we have numerous electrical issues. We already know that, but it's but it's been piecemeal. We have a lot of problems in the collector's office. With blown breakers, ungrounded plugs, shocking, all sorts of things. Some plugs have been taken offline, and different things. So this is just a comprehensive review to then map out what's the restoration for the next 20 years. So that's what this is looking at. I'm available to answer any questions.
Board have any questions?
I have a question for you,
Yeah?
Mr. Chairman. With the mention of the electrical, mechanical, I believe that in the last town meeting, there was a new IT person who was going to be hired, or being hired part-time for the rest of that year, and then we're gonna have a full-time IT person. I don't know if they've started.
No, that hasn't been, I don't believe they've really been advertised.
But, I
The
mean, that's a
IT the-
potential, so I was thinking about, would that be something they, I mean, I feel that it should be included as far as like, if you're gonna have a new IT person come on board and the electrical is gonna change a lot with the computers and Wi-Fi and all that stuff, is that something that is included in that, or is that separate?
We never really, we were looking at the, more of the HVAC, the heating, mechanical, and electrical, not the internet wiring of the, building. The building's actually been pretty well wired, but I can talk about, seeing if they can, look at that. They may wanna piggyback on when they're looking at the electrical systems.
Just a thought,
Yeah.
since there's gonna be a person here, hopefully full-time, that they never had before, correct?
Correct.
That might say, hey, this is all wrong, you could be doing this, and,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a thought on that.
They could probably be evaluating how they're gonna run that, and probably coordinate, if we do this, coordinate with the consultant that we use that's gonna evaluate the electrical and how you get access to some of this stuff. Whenever we, and I think that any IT person with their salt's gonna say, whenever we have, if we have to open a wall or open whatever for electrical and to go up,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Try-
run, we're
drag-
gonna.
Drag the IT with you.
That's why I
We're
thought
gonna run it all at the
street
same time,
Right.
whatever it is.
And with the plumbing, is that include drainage, like, I remember there was this courtyard out here over near the assessors.
The
Basement
plumbing is
treasure.
primarily inside the building, however, that was discussed. I know that when Joe Booth, myself, and Mr. Reese walked around, we know what that issue is.
Right.
It's over on the.
the treasurer's
It's
office,
over
right?
on the.
Southwest corner?
On the assessor's office.
Yeah.
Not this,
Treasurer.
the treasurer and the accounting
Right.
department downstairs.
Right.
We know what the issue is, and we know the pipe, because we've run the,
Camera.
they ran the camera through where it's broken. That is a very, it's a small problem. It can be identified really easily. However, it's a big fix because it's very deep and it's an extreme amount of excavation involved to, it's.
Right, that's why I wondered if it was included in
Yeah,
there.
it is. So, but we already,
You know that problem.
we already, that one, we already
The
know.
problem,
what-
and you know the solution.
We know what that problem
Okay.
is and what the solution is,
Um,
so.
If you were getting, to get the funding and it was done and everything, where does the next step, where does the money come from to do the multi-million-dollar project,
Well,
piece by piece?
we would look at coming to the CPC, Mass Historic. I would be looking at any and every type of funding source like I do for just about any project that I'm involved with.
What about the town?
Oh,
I mean, is it gonna show up on the other committee, the capital
Improvement.
capital
yes, yes,
improvement
that will show up. Because these
Because
are,
to depend on CPC for this amount of work
no,
would take you 10 years probably.
well,
Looking at
All
the
projects.
list, the mechanical, electric, plumbing, you got the roof, you got the wall restoration, you got some outside tile. The only thing that's not on here is the sidewalk. That's because we've already done that.
correct. And-
So, I mean, I just see a myriad of large projects here. I mean, the heating system, it's 90 degrees in here today, it's crazy.
Yeah, I,
You know,
this
9
building
o'clock at
is
night, we
either,
were
in the
roasting-
winter is either hot or it's cold and there's nothing in between.
I suggest next year we roast the turkeys here, you know.
So, but I will let you know that the CIP, the Capital Improvement Plan, it identifies all of these. It identifies all the town hall projects. It even identifies all of the high school projects. Now, funding, you know, in there, we talk about, well, how is it funded? You know, and there's caveats. Well, some of these qualify for CPC, so CPC might be a funding mechanism for some of these. Obviously, you know, when you add the high school, you add potentially the new roof here, because it's insinuated that the roof is the biggest worry.
That's where the water gets in first.
It is the biggest worry, and and it is that's a big ticket item.
There's one way to do it right, and that's to.
Strip it all and resheathe and re-put up.
Because I'm sure all the flashing's gone.
So, and from what the, well, the flashing and the gutters have all been done, so that would be, that's been done. That was done back in the nineties. So,
Rest.
it's anticipated that there might be some copper gutter work. And this is just kind of anecdotal conversations with the architect. And he said the roof itself, the slates, they'll last hundreds of years. He said what's problems with the slate roof is that the nails that hold them in are made of metal and rust and deteriorate, and that's the problem.
Have they identified the leakage locations?
We don't, currently, we don't have any active, there's, I can't say, there's no active known leaks. We do have some moisture in one back of the hallway up here, back behind my office on the second floor, but they thought that might be of a window, and more repointing issue. So,
Okay.
well, I don't wanna get too.
Any other questions on this? Pretty straightforward, what they're looking for, 12,000.
I have
With a
one
lot of
question.
money to come. Go ahead, Sidney.
I always have a question. We have all these piecemeal items. Who coordinates this? Your office? Is that
Well-
you? So it isn't scattered around?
Okay, no, this is, the piecemeal items are just, they are some of the items that we know that we're going to look
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
The architect is going to do a top to bottom review of the building. He's going to review the pointing that's been redone. He's gonna review the pointing that hasn't been done, from the roof all the way down. And
Then-
come up with, what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. And, will be done through the selectman's office. I imagine
Through your office?
it is really,
Your office.
the building maintenance and whatnot, which was Mr. Osuch's bailiwick, I think has fallen more to my office now, working with the architect and working with the town administrator, to come up with a roadmap of what we need to do.
Okay, anything else? Are you gonna sit there for the sidewalk?
Sidewalk?
So, for the Board of Selectmen, we have Bill Roth speaking for the library sidewalk project, William and Walnut Street, for the tune of $185,000.
Correct, and that includes the William Walnut and the street curb, because there's issues with the street curbing.
It's too breezy.
And this is a pretty straightforward project. We are not proposing, and I will repeat so everyone hears, we are not proposing to reduce the sidewalk as was done with the other projects.
What's the rationale for that?
The town administrator and the selectmen wish to, move a project forward, and remove some of the controversy that has surrounded the last sidewalks and project.
So there'll be no attempt to plant trees there, because that was, the idea was we needed more space for trees. so
Well, some of it
we
is,
could Put a tree in.
there were
that narrow spot.
several reasons for reducing the sidewalks.
One was
One
cost.
was for brick, one was cost, which was minor, one was to save on purchasing different bricks. The other was